Hi, I'm Richie Mackay.
And I'm Davey Bolt, and you are listening to the Wrongbias podcast.
And on show 55, we are joined by the rising star, Emily Kernick. Lane Succeeds, Jacqueline Henderson comes on to do a little bit of a promo. Thanks to our competition sponsor, Bowlswear Direct. And thanks to our streaming sponsors, Lane to Succeed and Renton Wealth Management. As always, thanks for your support and we hope you enjoyed the show. Right, welcome everybody to another Wrongbias podcast, and it's show number 55. The last one, Q&A with John Cockcroft, 1,165.
By far our best, wasn't it?
It was, without a doubt. We hope you found it interesting. We hope we asked the questions that you want to know the answers to. Anything positive that's come out of it is probably the introduction of a UK Open Family Pairs, sponsored by Ring 66. Mr. Parkinson, instead of having a quiet life outdoors, he's took this on, and it's gone off a storm. There's 29 venues, so we'll see how many entries they get over the course of the season. There's a finals day, which he's asked us to stream down at East Leak, I think it is, down Loughborough. So I think we'll just need to say that this competition has got nothing to do with the Bowls England Family Pairs. It's got no connection to it. It's just it's like the PBA has got no connection with the EIBA. So anybody says that Jason stepped on toes with Bowls England, completely out of order. Brand new competition. So it's taken off. We'll see how it goes, basically, man. Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's something new again, and like I said, just covers a gap that has obviously been left by the change to the family pairs. But I had Mally Peach on the phone the other day, and he was begging us to say, "I'm sure I checked my family tree and we're related somewhere along the line." So
I've checked mine, and there's a bolt there, but I think it's something with someone being locked up.
Yeah, but best of luck. Hope it goes well for the season, and at the same time, it'll be remiss to say those who are competing in Bowls England competitions, best of luck for the season as well.
And congratulations to yourself, mate, on winning a national title since the last
mate,
time we were on the mixed fours.
Is it? Yeah, is it? I forgot about that.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
Was it
holding up a sign, mixed fours. Aye, congratulations, mate.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a nice couple of days, that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed the streaming. The streaming was good. The IBS, no complaints. Grumble at the start, but no complaints. The mixed fours.
We know all about gremlins, mate, don't we? At the end of the day, I think it was just, again, there was a bit of a Wi-Fi issue down there, which they rectified. The old voice of Bowls was on there as well, DRJ. Did a great job and came out and did a few interviews, etc., etc. But no, it was great, mate. The first national title for Anne and Gary, which was great, and another one to add to Pat's senior title. She won the senior over 60 singles, I think.
Yeah. Have you updated your wiki profile yet?
No, I don't know.
No.
I've added it to my personal profile, mate. So it's added onto that one already. But I don't know who did the wiki one, because that one appeared out of nowhere. No, it was a really good day, mate.
Congratulations to Scotland on winning the under-18s, the both under-25 series and the women's series. Any reason, do you reckon, why Scotland's going great guns at the minute, mate?
I could put a really credible answer to that, but I must admit, I mean, back in the days when I was going up to Scotland for the international series, especially outdoors, I was really, really impressed. I don't think it's as flourishing as it is now, but there was, you could see in clubs there was a really good junior section within there, and obviously, England's always had the benefit. We may not have thousands and thousands of juniors there in the squad. We've got a big country to pick from. But yeah, like I say, it would be good if somebody actually drops a comment on and just gives us a shout about why it is. I mean, they seem to be really knocking out some top class juniors at the minute.
Well done to the England men's team winning the home international series, and getting it back from after losing it at Abbey View up in Scotland, then coming back to England and grabbing that one.
See, I mean, they did the thing that they needed to do, mate. I came back, we lost the series after winning at 7 off the bounce, and then they dropped it. Well, I didn't drop as I didn't go, but I didn't get in the team, and then they won it back. So that's I said to a couple of lads, that just confirmed my retirement even more now. I'm not going back again because I'm on a hiding and out. We'll lose it again. It's down to me.
It's down to you, mate. Right? And well done to one of our star men, Mr. Hartley. His 12-year gap.
Yeah,
I think he said it's the longest gap between appearances, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I was really happy for Paul. He's been top class for a lot of years now, really consistent year after year after year. And I spoke to him after his first game, and he said from what I heard, the green was really heavy down there, and he just said his first 6 ends he was dropping a few short. Was a bit frustrated, but then started to find it, and from that point onwards, I think he just got better and better throughout the series. So hopefully he's one of the names automatically on the sheet for next year, because by the sounds of it, he's a really good series. So really happy for the lad, really good mate and deserves it. So we welcome along Emily Kernick onto the Wrong Bias podcast. I'm going to say this is the first time you've been on the podcast, but you've actually been side by side with the big man up in the top left-hand corner of my screen there on the streaming as well, I believe. Is that right, Emily?
Yes, did a bit of commentary.
Never got away there. She never stopped.
Yeah, I can't believe that for 1 second.
You were great.
So, Emily, great to have you on. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most up-and-coming players that's on the circuit at the moment. I was just saying to Richie prior to you coming on, it just seems as if every post that comes on with sort of national honours or international, I believe you just, got to say congratulations straight away, because I believe you were player of the series for the last international series. Is that right?
Yes, I was. It was crazy, really. I mean, first series as a senior bowler, and to get player of the series, you couldn't really ask for any more. Apart from a team win would have been nice, obviously, but individually.
It would. No, fantastic. I mean, I think Don McVitie did the same thing as well. He's obviously come in this year and he did exactly the same, got player of the series as well. And it's just testimony for A, for your ability, and B, for both characters, because it ain't easy to come into those international teams. It's no league game on a Monday night at 6:30. You are playing the cream of the crop from across the British Isles, and to be consistent across 3 games to obviously achieve that award is, without a shadow of a doubt, it's great credit to yourself. How did you feel the series went personally for yourself?
Yeah, I was pleased. I think especially I didn't even know if it's my first actual senior trial that I've ever got this year. Everything that happened with my hand, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to trial. So I feel like I was just sort of really happy to be there, especially at the start. I'd been for a practice at Falcon in the week with Sandy Hazel. We'd been for a practice. So that sort of like settled any nerves that I sort of had. And I was just excited. I don't get as nervous anymore since I've done my hand and everything I've been through, because I just feel grateful to be able to play. So it helped. The rink I was in wasn't a bad rink either. So the girls made me feel really comfortable from the start.
You've touched on something I was going to ask you about straight away, because when I saw the post with the update of your arm, which I believe you did play netball, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I thought to myself, the next thing I saw, you'd either just won something or you were back. I can't remember what it was, and I was thinking, Craig, you say RoboCop or what? Because damage that looked as what had happened to your arm to then come back, and it was your bowling arm as well, is that right?
Yeah, so it's my right hand. It was a clean break all the way through the fifth metacarpal bone, and I had to have immediate surgery on it. I've got 3 pins in there that'll stay in there forever now. And it was when we went up to Scotland, and it was the World Junior Championships, and it was exactly 4 weeks after I broke it. There's no way I should have been playing at all, really, and it actually damaged it having played. But to get that silver medal playing with Harry, having been through what I'd been through in like the 4 weeks to get there, was like it's something I'll always remember. It's not what we were. Harry's a great bowler, and he doesn't want anything less than gold. But for me personally, after what I'd been through, that was a great achievement.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, just unbelievable, really. It's easy to underestimate. Sort of even over that 4-week period of time, you'll have lost sort of muscle mass in your arm, and obviously, this sport is all about touch, and basically your ball becomes part of your arm, etc. That's how you become so consistent. And it's just, as soon as you let go of the ball, whether you're a good bowler or not, big you're up again. Hey, your natural talent has got to be there. The hand-eye coordination, etc. Because to perform at that level is unbelievable, really.
I mean, I wasn't even playing I couldn't play with my normal bowls. When we went up, I had to play with some size 0 bowls up in Scotland because anything bigger, my hand just wouldn't have been able to take the weight of it. I started physio in February. I had some issues when I came back from the Worlds, and my x-ray showed that one of them pins had actually came loose from using it. So it sort of set me back in terms of recovery, like 1 or 2 months. Like I only got the all clear from hospital this week that's just passed. So the amount of strength I've lost in my hand, but sort of them first 2 times when I was coming back playing with size 0s, like mentally as well, it was quite difficult. Like aside from obviously all the physical things, like I'd stand there sometimes holding my bowl thinking, how did I used to hold it? Like just something as little as that. How did I send it before? So I'm glad I've managed to get past that, and everything now is hopefully going really well, because it feels like yesterday that I broke it, but it was quite a while ago.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's and there's nothing worse. It's like the worst possible nightmare in the world of, obviously, when you're so heavily involved in a sport, regardless of whether it's bowls or the netball. Do you play any other sports as well, Emily?
No, just bowls and netball. Yeah, I don't think
rugby.
I have time.
There's rugby, Davey. Rugby.
I don't know.
Bit of lacrosse in there as well, and a bit of boxing on the sides, MMA, and just a bit of everything. I'm a bit of an all-rounder, really. But your worst nightmare, doing your back or hurting your arm, or anything that stops you from doing the thing that you really enjoy or love. It must be the same in all sports. You get that injury in athletics. You see athletes who've been preparing for months and months and months to make the Olympics or make whatever it is, literally 10 yards into the race and the hamstring goes. It must be just heartbreaking. And it takes a lot of character. And I can see Richie just sitting there thinking that's the best comeback he's ever seen since a top bowler broke his foot and came back and qualified for the World Championship. But I'm not going to mention any names, Rich. Any questions you'd like to ask?
Emily, it was him. He had a pair of sliders, one of the sliders on, and he slipped off the curb and bust his toe.
I've got a pin in my foot as well, so
there you go. The best players have metalwork in them.
Totally hopeless if you get any competitions abroad, because you're never getting through that scanner in the airport. But apart from that,
you mightn't believe this, Emily, but I do a little bit of research on this podcast.
Yeah. What have you found?
I found a Sky Sports interview with you and your mother.
Oh no,
Michelle, and I've got clicked on it. And we're here at whatever Crown Green to promote Crown Green. Blah, blah, blah. 15-year-old Emily Kernick. Now I'm looking at you now and I'm saying, nah, that's never 10 years ago. Not a hope in hell.
When I tell my mum after this that you've mentioned that, she's going to be so angry.
I've seen it. I said, what's all this like? I've never seen this on Sky Sports. How did you get roped in on that?
It was good, actually. One of the ladies in our team worked at Sky at the time, and it was their they were doing a sportswoman sort of, like, I think it was week or month or something like that. So they came out to loads of different sports, and my mum actually had to play that was a county game, a ladies' county game we played. My mum had to play her game with a little speaker on, a little microphone, so it was listening to everything she was saying. She said she had to be careful because every time she wanted to swear at one of her bowls, she was like, oh, I can't do that.
Well, the last thing this podcast wants to do is upset your mother, but without a shadow of a doubt, the link to that video will be going on the post that promotes this podcast. Without a shadow, I can read it in his eyes straight away. That link is going on.
Oh, dear. I might keep it a surprise from her. Wait for her to listen to it.
I'll open the door in the morning. She's standing there saying, really?
Did you say Crown Green there as well?
Yes, Crown Green.
Have you come from a Crown background, Emily, have you?
Yes, so I have played Crown basically my whole life. And then about 2016, I think it was, came and started playing indoors. There was a few people that we played Crown with that played indoors. And they said, why don't you just come down? We do it in the winter to like keep our arms going, keep bowling. And immediately I was just like, it'll sound cringe to say I fell in love with it. But I straight away, I was like, I really like this game. It's so different to Crown, but it's obviously all transferable. But yeah, so that was 2016. And then 2 years ago started playing outdoor flat, so still quite new at that, so still a beginner, I would say.
So a question to ask you, my role, I support all of the formats of the sport: Crown Green, flat green, English indoor, etc. So I go down to a few meetings with Crown Green short mat. I've got Chuck short mat in there as well.
Yes.
I go down to Crown Green meetings. I was at one a couple of weeks ago, and my opening to this was, I come from what all the Crownies say is the easiest format of the sport. So I need to get it from the horse's mouth here. In comparison from Crown to flat, which would you say is the most difficult, or are you not going to sit on the fence?
I would say my answer is going to be a long version of sitting on the fence. I mean, I think especially indoors, the thing that makes it so difficult is sometimes you have to be within, inches, like sometimes closer than that to be able to count. And some of the heads that sometimes you build up, it's so difficult to make them shots. But then a crown greener would say, well, you're doing the same thing every time. Like, so it's not difficult. And then what the difficulty in crown is obviously every surface you play on is different. Every crown has different contours, different weights. So there's a lot more variation in terms of it. But then in crown green, on some greens, you could bowl a ball 3 yards away and that be a really good ball. And I'm sure a flat green bowler or an indoor bowler would say, well, you've got 3 yards to get in. How's it that difficult? So there's difficult things about both of them.
Yeah, totally. I have tried. But I mean, it is obviously, we all know that all crown greeners came from flat green because all that happened one night was they all got really, really drunk and then just started going off in all different directions, and that's how crown was created. Richard, I'd have to edit that one to keep your jaw money joking, crownies. Please don't sack us. But no, I've tried crown green and I can understand how ball 2 yards or 3 yards away can be a good ball because you're potentially going from one corner of the green to the other corner of the green and you've got a big stupid hump in the middle of it. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. They obviously just couldn't find a proper bowling green, so they just went on a hill somewhere and started chucking balls. That's how this game originated. But I'm going to get shot by all the crown greeners. Completely understand why we've had so many good crown green bowlers who convert across to flat because their game is literally, they've just got to, they roll the jack, which has obviously got a bias on in crown, and then they literally follow the lines. So all they're doing is just picking out that same line all of the time. Yeah. And I totally get it. I really get why, a name from the past, Noel Burrows, came across and playing in the World Championships indoors.
Yes. I believe talking about Don McVitie, I think he used to play crown as well up in Blackpool.
I mean, Georgie Dawes, he plays a bit of outdoor balls as well, Marky, doesn't he? Yeah,
he's very good crown bowler. I think what you find with a lot of crown greeners that come over is, especially in singles, we do quite well. Yeah. All crown is you play league bowls and all you play is singles. Yeah. And there's the occasional like doubles competition that you might play. But we're so used to, and it's all 2-bowl singles as well. So we're so used to being on your own out there that when you come indoors and then you suddenly get 4 bowls to play a game of singles, you think, oh my God, like I can mess up with one and still be okay. It's more difficult to go in then as a crown greener in a game of 4s, for example, where you've got to play for 3.5 hours and it's not just you.
Totally. And you're exactly right. I mean, you named a few there. There's some absolutely fantastic crown green bowlers that I know. There's Noel Burrows, Mark Dawes, Don McVitie. There's yourself, Emily, and then you go to the other extreme where there's some really bad ones, and that will be Jason Parkinson. I don't want to drop his name or anything like that, but I know he's played as well.
Did you ever get the experience of playing at the Waterloo, Emily, or not?
I did. I was very fortunate that I got to play there before it shut down. I actually, when I was 17, I lost in the final of the ladies' Waterloo.
Did you? Is that on video as well?
That's not on video, actually, no. But I lost 21-20 in the final.
Did you?
Was that on video? It was on pay-per-view on Sky, man. She's already told you she's got
it was on Sky,
man. Yeah. Cost £19.50 to download that match.
Sort of box office.
But no, the playing at the Waterloo is like the pinnacle of crown green. It's sort of like outdoors, sort of Leamington now. It's where the top events happen, and to be able to play there and nearly experience victory it's something that I'll always wish that I just got over the line.
I bet your opponent was getting heckled. I bet you this. Let the band win, man. Let the band win.
Heckling doesn't happen in crown green, Richie.
Crikey. No, we don't heckle.
They never say boo goose, crown greeners.
Very polite. Yeah, go back to that Sky Sports interview. They said it was heckling.
Oh, it's as polite as you like. I mean, you'll hear somebody in crown green say, "Oh, that's a marvellous ball, well played." That's fantastic. Get yourself to a crown green match, Richie. You'll enjoy strumming one of those, I'll tell you.
There's a game that I was talking about when we were down in Falcon the other week, and I was talking to some of the girls about crown, and one of the girls brought up that they'd watched a crown green game that was on YouTube, and she said, and I couldn't believe it, she said the one guy ran off his ball and got his rag out and started like wafting his rag around when his opponent sent his ball, and then he was wafting it away and waving his arms at the crowd. And I said, yeah, that does often happen.
That was Jason Parkinson.
Right, and we've got the pocket rocket on the show herself, Miss Jacqueline Henderson of Lane to Succeed. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. How
Good
are
evening,
you?
Jackie.
Before we touch on the reason that you've come on, for those who watched the streaming last week, will have seen the Gateshead Grand Pairs final. And the two likely characters on the stream here managed to win it. So congratulations to the two of you.
Thank you very much.
Yay. I'm chuffed.
Now, a little birdie tells me that for the first game, it was a case of, well, who's going to play skip? Do you fancy saying, Davey, I'm not bothered. I'll do it. Jacqueline, away up the green. Is that correct?
It was correct, yeah. I decided to skip because I thought David will probably be the best lead on the green that day. And it wasn't the right decision, to be fair. Not that David wasn't the best lead. It's just that I was under too much pressure at the back end.
Davey, the lead.
To be fair, we didn't decide it on the green, did we? We had a chat in the little cafe beforehand, didn't we? We did. He just said.
Yeah.
He just says. I mean, we were lucky enough to get an entry into the competition, and I was happy. And like I said, I don't think it was a wrong decision at all. We just it didn't work for the first two games, and we did say we would have a look at it, and if it needed changing, we changed it, and thankfully we still had a chance going into that third game. I mean, to be fair, the two skips in the first two games played some fantastic balls, so they turned a lot of heads around, and you were left some awkward shots to play. So don't put yourself down too much, Jay.
No, thank you. I mean, you boosted my confidence that day, no end. I feel on top of the mountain at the moment. I really do. Feel absolutely wonderful because of it. I've never actually played, with all due respect to everyone I've played with in my life, but I've never played with such a nice person as you, David. There wasn't one bad word for me at all, even though I knew there wasn't one bad word, and you just made me feel comfortable all the way through the whole day, and my confidence grew.
You played really well.
If everybody was like you on the green,
you played really well, Jackie. And I've always said,
like you.
Well, I've always played with a mentality, Jackie. It's hard enough to beat your opposition without making it hard for your teammates as well. So at the end of the day, nobody stands on the mat and means to play a bad ball. So there's no point in berating it. I mean, Mally Peach, Phil Dixon, and a couple of others will be calling us a right liar here, because when I play with them in nationals, I just give them the roll of the eyes, and they know they're getting wrong. Yeah, it was a real pleasure, Jackie. It was first time we've ever played together, and I thought we did really, really well, considering we didn't know each other's games. And I sent you a message, and the lovely part was you just let me play whatever shots I wanted to play. Really, if you thought anything different, you put your ideas in. But it was all good. All good.
It was a cracking day.
There was nobody bitter and twisted over it. They were just winning one game and getting 2-1 shots difference. Nobody was bitter and twisted.
No, definitely not. Did you see me comment on David Sykes's happy birthday post, Rich?
Yeah.
Because Davey was absolutely fuming because he won 2 games in his group and went out on shot difference, and obviously we won 1 and got through. So on his birthday thing, I says, Davey, everybody knows 2 wins is for sure, 1 win for the door.
Even Eddie Orchard on the commentary, he says, one game, he's getting through. Says, Eddie, let it go.
I think it's a really good time as well to heap a load of praise on the club, because the way they run those competitions and the way they've just run the club over the last 5 to 10 years as volunteers, it's an amazing club. If you haven't been there before, they've done some great work. Lovely cafe in there. And just everything about the place is really nice. And Mally Johnson, for those who know Mal, they may see him on social media, but just does an amazing job setting up these competitions. And, I think if there was a lot of other clubs out there understood how easy these one-day competitions are and how he sets them up, literally you just pick your sheet up and it tells you where to go for your 3 games. And then it literally tells you where to go for last 16, quarter-final, semi-final and final. And it's as simple as that. You just walk to your rink and play your balls. Real credit to both the club and to Mally for a great tournament.
It was a great club. Good green, and it was well priced as well. So you didn't have to spend too much to eat and drink throughout the day, because you can spend a lot of money in those areas generally. But the pricing in the canteen cafe area was lovely, really, really good. So yeah, praise to the whole club.
The reason that we've got you on, Jacqueline, is because you're Lane to Succeed. You're sponsoring the Paul Sharman Australian Bears in June at Carterton Bowls Club.
Yes.
So we thought it would be nice for you to just give it a little bit of a profile push and see if you can attract a few entries into it, which I'm sure you'll not have a problem getting the entries anyway, but there you go. The floor is yours.
So it's Paul Sharman's Australian Pairs. It's in its third year, and each year Paul and his team. So a guy called Bradley Squires is really the coordinator, working with Paul, both fellow bowlers at Carterton, and they're raising money for charity every year. So they do it for fun, they do it for charity. And I think previously they've raised money for the Heart Foundation, for cancer, and this year they've decided to raise money for the RAF Benevolent Fund. And I think what a fantastic idea. And I give them some money to make the day a good day, and so that, you know, everyone can win something from the day. They've got a local butcher that donates the food, which is great. So you've got some really nice food going on throughout the day. Drinks all day. A friend called Jilly Coughlin, who is the wife of John Coughlin, ex-Status Quo. I don't know if anyone's heard of them, but they've been around since the 60s. Fantastic rock band. I don't know if you've heard of them, but I contacted Jilly out of the blue just by email, just to say to her, look, we're doing this event. It's not far from where they live. It's for the RAF Benevolent Fund, which they support as well. And I asked them whether or not they'd be prepared to either donate some cash or some merchandise that we could auction off. And fantastically, on Saturday at 12 o'clock noon, Paul Sharman met Jilly Coughlin in Asda car park at Carterton and picked up a load of merchandise. It was teeming with rain. Bless them both. But she's actually donated some merchandise that we can now auction for the club. And we've got some really good marketing stories behind the scenes to actually share for if anybody's interested. And it's being endorsed by Jilly as well, Jilly and John. So we've got a set of drumsticks signed by John. We've got a signed photograph, and we've got two really good T-shirts, one small, one extra large. So that's how it all came about. Hopefully it'll generate some funds on the day, and there'll be an auction either on Facebook or eBay.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a success. Knowing you, Jacqueline.
We'll try and make it the best we can and try and get as much money as we can. That's what it's about, and having fun.
If I can help at all, I don't know if it's of any interest, but I'm almost sure I have got a sleeping bag from the 2018 Commonwealth Games that was in the Athletes Village, which I'm sure I've got. I'm more than happy to give you that if you want towards it as well.
Oh, fantastic.
The sleeping bag?
Would be absolutely great.
Well, when we stopped in the Athletes Village, because they're sort of purpose built, when it had all finished, you were basically told you could take anything you wanted from obviously the quarters. So any mementos or anything like that. So somehow I'm sure I'll double check. If it's not that, Jackie, I'll find something Commonwealth Games related. But I'm sure I've got a Commonwealth Games sleeping bag which I took, and it's probably smelling of my body odor. So you might have to stick it in a wash. Either that, or you might get an extra 20 pence for it. You never know. There's people with fetishes out there.
I think we'll make more money if we leave it as it is, David.
Oh, check inside first. I don't know. I can only send you a pair of me white underpants or something like that. I can sign them for you.
To be fair, Jack, your pair of Richie's underpants is very similar to a sleeping bag, so you're all right. He'll just draw a big red line on them.
Oh dear. Well, we'll take anything, Richie. We'll take anything.
You haven't seen his underpants.
I'm not sure I really want to.
No, I'll show a lot. I'll keep it clean. Might be a family show if I have to cut this in.
That's what your missus keeps saying to you. Keep them clean.
No. Jackie, the conversation's gone downhill.
Fantastic, Jackie. Well, I really hope it obviously flies. I hope you raise as much as money as you possibly can. And like I say, hopefully the contribution I make, you'll get a little bit of interest from that. But I'm sure with the status quo, merchandise will go really well as well. And obviously wish Paul all the best with the competition as well. So thanks so much for coming on. Twice in a week, Jackie, we'll start getting talked about. But as I said to you before, there's a lovely marina in South Shields if you want to come up anytime and play for the Vipers.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you so much. Pair of gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks, Jackie.
Right. Have a good evening, both. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Hello. And now we return to our chat with the Bowls England female rising star, Emily Kernick. One thing one gripe that I used to hate playing Lancashire, because used to hate them, used to hate playing, because there was a lot of the Crown Graders used to run away, lads, run away. I'm going, what's going on here? Like, what's excuse me?
People say hurry indoors, I'm like, what's hurry? I'm like, do you mean run? Like,
hurry, run, really?
Or we say peg instead of like bend, and I'll say peg sometimes, and people will be like, what does peg mean?
So what's the opposite of thumb peg? What's the opposite of thumb peg then?
Thumb and finger.
Finger peg.
Yeah, thumb and finger peg.
Is it? Is it really?
So it's based on which side of like where the bias is in your hand. So if the bias is on your thumb, then it's thumb peg, and if the bias is the other side on your finger, then it's finger peg.
So if anybody plays with you in the flat grade, they say thumb peg, you're playing your foot beforehand.
Thumb peg will be backhand.
Thumb peg will be backhand.
Well worked out, Richie. You only had two choices and you got the wrong one.
Well, I was going to phone a friend, but I ain't got one. So have you got any future ambitions within the sport, Emily? Even though you're now the old fart dropping out the under 25 series?
Don't mention that. No. My goal when I started was always to get into that senior England team when I started indoors. That was always a massive goal of mine. I think in Crown, we don't have, England and Wales are sort of the only countries that do it. So there isn't really that ambition or that top point of being able to play for your country. So that was always something massive for me. Going over to play outdoors, obviously then that opens doors of, world championships or like Commonwealth Games. And you've always got to aspire to get to that level. Why not? If you can have that dream of being there, then why would you not dream of that? So that's a very far off dream, but one that I want to work towards.
I don't think it's going to be that far away, Emily, if I'm honest. I haven't seen you play, and obviously the progression that you make, it's probably not going to be as far away as what you potentially think. What level do you play netball at?
So I played the league that I was playing in, sort of it was regional division. We were in 1 last year, we're in 2 this year, we got relegated. But so if you think of netball, they have Super League, which is on the telly. Then you have 3 Prem divisions where the girls travel all around the country to play. And then you have regional. So that's like your best teams like in your sort of county area. So it's a good standard, and I love playing netball. I've always played netball, and netball have always they'll laugh when they hear this. They've always hated the fact that I was good at bowls as well, because netball was always on the weekends and bowls was always on the weekends, and I would always play bowls instead of netball.
Would that always be your first choice? If something clashed, would the netball lose out to the bowls?
Yeah, it kind of. It always clashed with the Crown on Sundays, which would have been county days, which was counties really big in the Crown, because it's sort of, apart from winning like national singles, that's the next biggest thing, the county. So yeah, so I always did pick bowls, and
you'll not be the first, Emily, and you'll not be the last. There's a lot of people out there who obviously had a lot of interest in different sports and have probably had choose one, and it's always a tough one, because at the end of the day you're never going to be a millionaire playing this sport, but there's so much it has to offer. I mean, Richie used to be a county sumo wrestler, and he had to give it up for bowls, but he became a British Isles champion, so it was all worth it.
I know we had a chat when you were on comms up Scotland, and I asked you the question, or it might have been down at Poole. Were you down at Poole?
Maidenhead it was.
Maidenhead, seems a long time ago. And I asked you the question, would you have taken the sport up if you'd walked past the green and you'd seen the whites and greys? And you said probably not. If we gave you the magic wand, what one thing would you change in the women's game? Or what one thing would you like to see introduced?
In which version of bowls?
We'll go both, because you might have something for both.
Crown
Green, cut the language out. Right, we'll
Yeah, but everyone be more respectful in Crown Green. Let's not be mean to each other. I think what could be changed in Crown Green is, especially when I've come into like the EIBA and looking at Bowls England as organisations, the BCGBA really should look at how they're running competitions or helping young kids, and there needs to be some sort of change there in terms of making, the events more of a spectacle. The social media presence of like the EIBA and Bowls England is incredible compared to the British Crown Green. And I think that's one of the main differences I've noticed coming over, is that the structure and the organisation of everything is so much better. A bit more like professionalism, maybe, if you can put it that way. And then what would I change about? In terms of the women's game, let's go women's game. I think women don't like being aggressive when they play bowls because we're meant to be ladylike.
Go on, Davey. Tell your tale about where they were lying 6 and they were trying to draw in. Go on.
It's just another one of those that sort of just mirrors the comments that we've made in the past. And I've always said your top women bowlers, and I hate this, it sounds really sexist to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The top women bowlers play what has been in the past seen as the men's style of bowls.
Yeah, man's game. Yeah.
And it's that, I'm saying it's sexist, but it's not. It's just an example of we joke at 6 down and you've got 3 inches to draw, and you're trying to draw 5th, so you only drop 4, and the men don't even get to that point. They've probably tried to hit it by the 4th ball or whatever it is. So it's just, you look back over the last 10, 15 years, without a shadow of a doubt, for me, all of the top bowlers who've won national titles and have come through the under 25 ranks and have progressed into that senior team all predominantly play what is classed as the male style of bowls.
I mean, we call it the male style of bowls, obviously, because that's what it has been called, but it's just, should it be called a male version of bowls, or should it just be called sometimes the right way to play bowls?
Maybe just and like I say, that's why I don't want it to come across sexist.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It isn't a male style of bowls. It's just it's a more aggressive way to play bowls. Always been sort of a touchy one, because it's you don't want to upset those within the sport, but I've always said it's something that's held the women's game back for quite a long time in what is such a diverse sport. And why we can potentially say that, anybody who wants to come on and criticise us, is I wrote a blog a long, long time ago now, pre-COVID, when the World Championships was on and when Catherine beat Alex. And I made that point there and then and just said, this categorically proves that there is no bias as to whether you're male or female in this sport. It's as diverse as it comes. At the end of the day, the only difference comes in the style of the way you play the sport.
And confidence as well. I think men don't worry about playing them shots. It's second nature. They just look at it and play it. Whereas I feel like maybe sometimes women sort of think, like the first choice is, can I draw? Can I cut it down? Rather than the first choice being, well, let's just get through this and straight through the middle. I mean, our under 25 international series this year that we had in Belfast, we've obviously got new management. Lorraine Coolers came in as the manager, and
never heard of her, to be honest.
She's not bad, is she? But it was so great having her on the sides, because I mean, we've all watched Lorraine play, especially in that fours final that they had in Australia. To have that as management on the side and be like, why would you not play through at that? Like, to have that confidence and that someone as good as her at playing them runners to back you into playing a runner yourself, I feel was really good for all the girls. And just she gave us all so much confidence to pick them shots that we wanted to play and to play them with confidence.
I literally clung to those top bowlers who had done it. There was no jealousy there, no sort of, I want to be better than them. Case of, I just want to pick every single bit of knowledge that I can, these players, and mould it around my own game. And I don't know if you've got a couple of players who you've watched over the years and obviously try to form your own game on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being from obviously a Crown background, before I started playing indoors, all we would watch of it, all I would see of it was Potters on at the telly. So for me, I've always watched Catherine when she was on the telly. And now obviously coming in, playing the game, having played against her, having now played with her, she's always been the person that I've looked at and been like, that's where I want, I aspire to be like that. And if I can watch her and learn off her, and if I can take any of 50% of what she can do, then I'm learning something good.
And without repeating what we've just said earlier on, she is your perfect example of what we're talking about an aggressive ladies game. She does not let anything lie, and she's just got the confidence to say, I'm going to hear it.
In Falcon last week, I was playing number 2 to her, and in the Scotland game, the head built up quite nicely, and she said, Emily, I just want you to hit this. And I was like, oh, I'm am I allowed to do that? But no, but it's having that confidence that she can just say she's not scared of getting people to rent it, because she knows that that's what she would do as well.
Yeah, and it's to be honest with you, I didn't realise that you were playing 2 to Catherine as well, and you probably couldn't go in there with. There's some great players in that team without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
but she's shown it at a world level on a regular basis. So if you can't learn from her, you'll learn from nobody. So
yeah, exactly.
Richie, have you got anything else you want to add?
No, just wish you all the best going forward. I've enjoyed watching you play. The national government bodies, you tick all the boxes to promote the sport going forward. And if they can't see it, well, we have got problems in the sport. And I hope to look forward to see you play at Potters, qualify in the singles. If not, well, we'll get you on comms, can't I?
If the bowls goes badly, then you know where I am for all the calls.
Yeah, you'll be sidekick. Bolty's out. But Davey, you're out, son. You're out.
That's all right.
Me, son.
I'll happily retire. You're okay. Emily, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've been fantastic to talk to. I think you've got an amazing future ahead of you. Things are going great as they are, and you've got the complete package there and mentality to go as far as you want to. So I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you very much, both of you. And thank you for having me on. I've really enjoyed it.
Very good. And tell your mum that link of that video is going on tonight.
Yeah.
She's going to hate you. Wait till the next time she sees you, you're going to get a slap.
We've only got 7 followers. It's only going to get out to 7 people. Tell
her. Anybody listens to the podcast. Thanks very much, Emily, and all the best. Thank you very much.
No, thanks again, Emily. Thank you.
Take care.
See you.
Thank you. Right, mate, another one over and done with. Smashing a little chat with Emily Kernick. Obviously, is a rising star in the game, mate.
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. She every time you seem to look at results coming through on a national level at the minute, seems to have her name attached. So it's definitely a great future, and obviously she's been heavily involved in other sports as well. So.
It's 2 things, the last couple of months, that says everything about bowlers. If you can remember a while ago, we did try to push a bit of a crowd-funded raising thing for a local club up in Morpeth, St George's, who had storm damage and they needed £7,500 to get their work done, otherwise they faced closure. Well, your faith in humanity was restored because all the bowlers across the country and what have you all chipped in, and they passed the £7,500 quite easily. I think they're possibly about 8,000 or maybe 9,000 they raised, so that was great. My other one is, I don't know whether everybody's seen it, but the Lewis King post about trying to get a GoFundMe to help him get funded to the World Bowls Champion of Champions, which for him, he's delighted that it's in New Zealand, him and Steph Branfield, both of them going. Obviously, I'm going to throw a question here for World Bowls. Why have they cut the funding? Because they used to cover all the players' accommodation, which has put more expense on the players. So Lewis came up with the idea to go to a GoFundMe to help him with his flights and blah, 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 blah. He had a target of 2,000. He's currently sitting at 4,800. All the donations come from bowlers. Kent Bowling Association chucked in 500 quid. I think Steph put one out and she's just gone over the £1,000. So my faith in bowlers is restored. Sometimes you lose your faith. You think, well, what's it all worth? And then you see the likes of them. And good news that gets out now.
It is. And I think from Steph's point of view, she sort of joined it after Lewis had gone on there. So a lot of people had obviously contributed. Potentially, if they'd both gone on there at the same time, a lot of people might have just split the money, give a little bit to both. It's hopefully Steph raises enough money there as well to help her to get out there as well.
It's a little bit disappointing that your country champion is having to pay the majority of his expenses. Bowls England give 500 quid each. When you think World Bowls is your world governing body and blah, 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 and
it's not a shock anymore. How many times have we talked about there's no money in the sport. There's nothing there. So, all of the organisations are running on tight budgets and trying to scrape here and there. And it's just the way it is. Yeah, we all know what it should be. And if it was one of the main sports, you probably wouldn't have the issues. But the funding that comes into this sport is considerably lower than a lot of them sports. And, bear in mind that just in the UK alone or England alone, we're probably the 3rd biggest sport with clubs out of all of them. It just shows how vastly underfunded we are, unfortunately. But it gets to the point where they're missing half the field, there might be a rethink, and they might have to think of ways how they can help to assist these players to get out there to make sure that it is a proper world competition. So the more trouble is, it's a catch-22, isn't it? Now that they'll be seeing players out there raising their own funds, they'll be saying, well, we didn't need to give out.
Well, it is, yeah.
It's it's a catch-22 situation. If they weren't turning up and playing in the competition, there'd be an issue because you wouldn't have a competition. But now that you're raising your own funds to get out there, they're saying, oh, well, they're doing the job for us. We didn't need to give them. One of those, mate. One of those.
Well, that's it, mate. Another wrap. We hope you enjoyed it. We are out live streaming. Got a few PBA qualifiers coming up in April. Thanks again, everybody, for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you later, all.
Thank you for listening and hope you've enjoyed the show.
This has been a Dodgy production.